Hi everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecolored.co.uk and thank you very much for joining me today. Today I've been trying to work with things that are definitely going to be carrying over into the new catalogue, that aren't going to be retiring, because as you probably know by now, we've got a lot of our core colours are going to be retired and new colours are coming in, but I haven't got those yet. I've still only got my core things to work with. So most of what I've used in this card today isn't retiring. The only thing that is retiring, as far as I know, is the DSP that I used here. So you could substitute something else, or if you've actually got a stash of this, you know, this will work well for you. So today's project is it's a twist and pop card. Now, in the past, when I've made the twist and pop cards, I've made them so that they open up that way, you know, bottom to top, because that's the way I tend to make my cards, because they stand nicely on the mantelpiece that way, and also they're easier to photograph. But today I've varied it a bit, because this card, instead of opening bottom to top, opens side to side, and it is of course a twist and pop card. Now I've made quite a few of these, and I'm starting to get the hang of them now, I think. Stick with me, I will show you how I made this one. Here are the supplies that I'm using today. My card base is a piece of real red, and I have cut it to 8 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/4. The piece that's going to make the action happen is another piece of real red, and this one is 7 1/2 by 2 inches. I've got a piece of Pacific Point that is 8 inches by 2 1/2. And for the front panel of my card, I've got another piece of Pacific Point, and I've cut this to 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. I'm using the Colour Theory DSP. This is going to be retiring at the end of May, so if you want it and you haven't got it, now is the time to grab yours. And I'm going to be using this pattern and this pattern, and they are both Daffodil Delight. And then I've got some scraps for die cutting and stamping into. So I've got some real red, some soft suede, a bit of Pacific Point, not sure if I'm going to use that or not, but I've got it ready just in case. Definitely going to be using Whisper White. The stamps I'm using are Lift Me Up, and I've got Memento Tuxedo Black, Smoky Slate, and Real Red inks to stamp with. And I'm also going to be doing some die cutting, and this is the, can't think of the name of it for the moment, but it is the one that goes with Lift Me Up, and it is Up and Away. I put the long edge of my real red card base onto my scoreboard, and I'm going to score it at 4 inches, and I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to score it at 4 inches again, and that way it'll give me a little bit of a spine on my card, and that will make it a bit easier to fit all of the paper and the card that's going to go inside of it, okay, because that's going to be quite bulky. Okay, so with my 7 1/2 inch strip, now I'm going to score first of all at 3 3/4 of an inch to fold it in half, and then with my short edge at the top, I'm going to make a score at 1 inch. Okay, so that will fold like that. So now I've got to put the diagonals in. And to do that, I'm going to score 1 inch from that score line, so that is at 3 3/4. So I'm going to score it at 4 3/4. Actually, I'm not going to score, I'm going to make a mark, and I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. And then on this side, I'm going to score 1 inch from the mark this way. And don't worry too much about these measurements, because they will all be on my blog, and I'm marking at 3 1/4. And I could do this with a pencil, but I've got my stylus tool in my hand. Now I've marked a datum line on at the 6-inch point on my scoreboard. I just did that with a Sharpie. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my piece of card, and I'm going to put that mark at that end of the channel. I'm just going to swivel this around until I've got that mark is also in the same channel. By marking them with Sharpie, I can see exactly where they are, and I'm just going to score. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Now, you could quite easily do this with a ruler and something squishy underneath, an embossing mat or something like that, but I do like to use my scoreboard. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this piece and get my bone folder and move this out of the way, and I'm going to burnish all my folds. This is the bit that's going to make the action happen. Okay, and I'm going to do my diagonals as well. Okay. All right. So now it's going to want to fold in like that, and that's fine, but that's not how you want it to finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this corner, because then when I can get hold of it, and I'm going to fold it over that way, and then I'm going to take the one behind and I'm going to fold that way, so I wind up with something that always reminds me as one of those things from Tron. And if you've never seen Tron, you're not going to have the faintest idea what I'm talking about, but that is the sort of shape that you want. Okay, and it is important that it is like this with the two separate legs. I'm going to do a little bit more scoring. I've got my piece of Pacific point, and I'm going to score it at 2 inches, 4 inches and 6 inches. And I'm going to fold this like a concertina. So I'm going to fold that piece in, that piece back. So this is valley fold, mountain fold, and finally valley fold. And that's going to be my piece that pops up in the middle. And here are the two pieces that are going to make the action happen. Now I've done a little bit of preparation on them. I've cut away the point on that triangle so that it's like a little flat roof. It's not essential, but it does make the action a little bit less bulky, takes up a little bit less room, so it is worth doing. And I just snipped it away with my scissors, and as you can see, I've gone ahead and I put tear and tape on that surface and on that surface, and I've also put some tear and tape on my Pacific point piece, and that's about 3/8 of an inch in from the edge. I've just run a piece of tear and tape there, and if I flip it over, I've done the same on the other side. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to put this together before I put it into the card, because I have found by trial and error that it is easier to do it that way. So I'm going to make sure that I've got this folded piece with an open edge towards me, because if you do it that way around so that the open edge is away from you, it won't work. Ask me how I know. I'm going to take off my piece of tear and tape, and I'm just going to I'm going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive on there as well, just either side of it and on top of the tear and tape. And that is because people love playing with this kind of card. Trust me, they do. So I'm just going to walk that over the top of it, like I'm sort of grabbing it with one arm, and press that down. Okay, and having a look on the other side, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to bend that out the way just for a minute or two. Just fold it out of my way. And I'm using the existing fold line, so I'm not doing any further damage to my card. Fold that back, pop that down. Okay, so if I bring in my card blank here. I'm going to do something similar in that I'm going to take the backing off my tear and tape, and I'm also going to put in some liquid adhesive. This is going to do two things. It's going to give me a little bit of wiggle ability, but it is also going to strengthen my card. Okay, so about centered, and with that flat bit up against the groove that I made. Okay, and push that down. And now for this bit, just wondering whether I should do, no, it'll be fine. I was just wondering whether I should decorate up my inner panels. And yeah, I should have mentioned that, again, change of design direction. I thought it was a bit too red. So I cut 2 extra Pacific point panels to go on the inner surface, and I'm just going to bring that over and close it up. Okay, so I'm going to put that on one side with something quite heavy on the top of it for the adhesive to dry, and then we can finish decorating it. I'm going to go over to the Big Shot and do a lot of die cutting now. So I'm going to cut one of these in real red. I'm going to cut one each of these on my Colour Theory DSP, and I'm going to arrange them like that, with that one being the palest and that one being the darkest. I'm going to cut out quite a few of these from this paper, and I'm going to vary the position so that I've got some that are at the light end and some that are at the darker end. I'm going to cut one of these in soft suede, and I'm going to cut out a lot of fluffy clouds out of my Whisper White. So I'm going to go away and do that, and I will be back when it's all done. I am back from my Big Shot. I have done lots and lots of die cutting, and now I want to do some stamping on the pieces that I've cut out. So to help me, I'm using my Stamparatus, and I've got it set up with my stamp case underneath my clear plate here. I'm only using one plate today, not the two. I've put a piece of scrap paper into my Stamparatus, and I've got my little balloon stamp here ready. Okay, so I'm just going to pick that up onto my clear plate, and I'm going to ink it with my real red ink. And I'm just going to press that down. Right, now as long as I don't move this paper, and as long as I don't move this, that is always going to stamp in that exact spot. So I have a mask here that I've just cut out of a piece of scrap card, and I'm just going to centre that around my stamped image, and I'm just going to stick this down with a little bit of low-tack tape. Now I can take my die cut piece, and that will fit inside there. Ink up, press down, and I have a perfectly stamped die cut. Now I'm going to do this for all of the other balloons and clouds that I've stamped out, and yeah, I will be back in a little bit. My original idea for this was to stamp the sentiment in my Tuxedo Black Memento, but I tried it out and I wasn't really thrilled with it, so I have switched to going to use Versamark and white embossing powder. So I'm going to begin with a bit of embossing putty. Now, since I have my Stamparatus out, I'm going to use it, but it's not essential for this step. And I should have said actually when I was talking about stamping the balloons, that if you don't have Stamparatus or similar, then the other way that you can do it would be to stamp the balloon first and then cut it out with the die, because you can see into the middle of the die, right? So that is inked up with Versamark, and it says hope your day is on cloud 9, and I'm just checking that that has inked, and it has. So I have my white So this is going to be the front panel of my card, and I've got my hot air balloon ready to go on the front of it, and if I turn it over you can see where those die cut panels have all been slotted together, and doing it this way means that you could have a different colour for each of these sections, but I just wanted that nice shaded look. And to stick them down, all I did was I put some of my liquid glue on the back of my hand, and I just dabbed my balloon into it, and then I put the pieces on top. Okay, some people like to use a sponge. I like to use the back of my hand. Don't do this if you've got sensitive skin, obviously, or wear gloves or something similar. So now I'm going to assemble the front of my card, said she, moving swiftly on. So I've cut out all my balloons and my clouds, and this shape of cloud I stamped in smoky slate, but I stamped off first. So I inked it, stamped it, and then stamped it again without re-inking to give me that that kind of washed out sort of look. So at the moment I'm just sort of playing with my positioning. Given that some time for the adhesive to set, and this is what I have. Now I should have said that if you are going to use the tape and liquid adhesive method, make sure that you don't get any of the liquid adhesive where you don't want it, because otherwise you will glue your card shut. Again, how do you think I know that? Okay, so I just want to do one little finishing touch on this. Now, I don't know whether you can see, but when the card is open, this bit here is flapping open. And again, it would have been better if I'd thought to do this before I put the card together, but all I'm doing is, not sure how well you can see that, put it that way, just taking my snips and I'm just chopping away that corner. Okay. And I've already done the one on this side. Not essential, but it just makes it just a little bit less obvious, if you like. Alright, so all I've got to do now is to decorate my card. So I've got all of my die cut pieces here. I've got my balloons and my clouds, and I'm just estimating how much room I have, how much overlap I have at the bottom here. So I'm going to begin by popping a cloud along there, and I'm using liquid adhesive because I definitely want to have some wiggle room here, because I don't want that to show when the card is shut. And yeah, So that's about how much overlap I can allow myself. And yeah, I'm just gonna play for a few minutes, just putting clouds and balloons and yeah. So let's have one of those big balloons by there. By there, that's a Welshism for you. Right, so I'm going to use my die cut, my clouds, my balloons, and I'm going to decorate the inside of this card. So speed this bit up, talk to you in a little while. I've used up just about every cloud and balloon that I cut out. I think I might go back and add a few more clouds, but I'll go and do that later after I've finished filming, because for now it's time to wrap this up by putting on my front panel. So I've got tear and tape on the back, and I've partly taken it off. Just me fold my bits of tape out of the way there, because this allows me to have a little bit of wiggle room, which I badly need. Yeah, you see already that's not balanced, so there we go, that's more like it. So when I'm happy that I've got it straight, which isn't now, then once I'm happy with the positioning, I can take away the rest of the backing strips. And there we are. Card is done. And there it is. There is my finished twist and pop card. And I'm just going to open the mechanism again, because I never get tired of doing that. And I know I've presented these cards to people in the past and they've just sat there just doing that and trying to figure out how it works. And when you know how it works, it really isn't that hard. But that is it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Would love it if you came back and saw me again soon. But for now, bye bye.